Good morning and happy Wednesday. Oh my gosh, you guys, we have another guest. I'm so excited that Rebecca's here. Rebecca, actually, that's my spirit guide's name. I didn't tell you that. So I was like super excited. Yeah. So, you guys, we have Rebecca here today. I want to thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys have your cup of joe and we're going to chat. We're coming into the holiday season. Everybody's like, we were just talking about how we're like, okay, we're ready for a break. We're ready for the holidays, spend time with family. So when you guys click on, please like and share the page. I know that a lot of people have been blocked, unfortunately, from Facebook. So if you haven't been blocked, please shoot this message out and to other like-minded people, because we've got an inspiring message today. So hello. Hey, Shannon, for clicking on. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. This thing is so delayed. It goes from like 0 viewers into like now 11. So thank you guys for clicking on. We have a fabulous guest today. Good morning, everybody. Rebecca. No, not my spirit guide, same name, but we got Rebecca here. She's a transformational coach, and she uses the Ashtakic Records practitioner to get that done. Rebecca, thank you for being my guest. And why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I do work in the Akashic Records, and what I do is I really help people connect into the deeper truths of who they are and help them step out of the small ways of living, the limitations and restrictions that they've built up after many lifetimes of making choices that go against their authentic self. So when we can strip all of that away and really connect into our divine self, it just allows us to step into more fulfillment in our lives, because we are divine beings having a human experience. So it's really, really powerful when we can do that and really connect back into that deeper part of ourselves. So that's the nature of the work that I do, so that we can step into more abundance, purpose, and empowerment and enjoy this ride we're on. I mean, let's have some fun here. That's what it's all about.
I love that. It was funny because you start talking and spirit goes, she moves people outside their box and goes like this. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was fascinating how I kind of jumped on Rebecca's Facebook page, and spirit, I've told you guys before, kind of guides me to the Facebook people that I'm friends with and guests, and spirit will say, add them, ask them to be on the show. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you guys are here live. This is going to be, she's our last guest for Coffee with the Angels for 2018. So you guys stay tuned and like and share. And when I clicked on your page and your picture, I just felt like, I'm like, she feels so familiar to me. And it was one of those like, okay, have I talked to her before? Hold on, wait. Have I talked to her before? I feel like we've done this before. And spirit is telling me that's your soul. And spirit's coming in and saying that's how your clients and the people, when they come to you, they go, you feel so great because you've done this work for so long and for so long in different and lineages and lifetimes, that when people come to you, it's like, okay. And yeah, because they keep going, your transition, you move people out of their box, but in a transition that's safe and comfortable. So I love that about you. Okay. So how did you get started? When did you like, okay, I'm going to, take on this chapter? When did you decide to kick open the door and walk this path?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me that. So I was thinking about that this morning. I wasn't, as most people, a little girl thinking, oh, I want to be an Akashic Record practitioner when I grow up. It didn't happen like that. I knew nothing about the records or the fact that I would be eventually called to work in them. And it really is a calling. And, we don't necessarily pursue our callings. Our callings call us. And so I was in my 20s and I had a lot of things that I had built up for myself that were a part of the checklist that I think all of us do, get an education, get married, have a child, step into this life that's all about accruing physical things and accolades and achievements. And I was pursuing those things. And then Source said, you know what, we're going to strip away all of that and remove all of those things that you've relied on in terms of egoic labels that you've built up for yourself. And it's much like the heroine's journey or the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell talks about. And so all of these things started to crumble in my life and really started to dismantle. And I had a very tragic experience. I had a little girl and she was born premature, and she passed away a couple weeks later with a hospital-borne infection called Pseudomonas. And that really rocked my world and threw me completely out of sorts, because I was really prepared to be a mom. And I then didn't know what I was going to necessarily do with myself, and went back to my job as a business manager at a software company and just felt that empty void inside of me. And so I decided to handle my grief by just jumping into an executive MBA program and going to grad school, and didn't know that that program was going to just crack me wide open, because it was all about learning to go deeper with yourself and learn more about yourself and your personality and, you know, what lights you up. And I really thrived in that environment and was really powerful for me. And then fast forward several years. And it was actually on a trip to San Francisco to reconnect with a friend of mine that I hadn't seen since my daughter had passed. And I didn't know this, but her husband was a medium. And I knew nothing at this point, late 20s, about spiritual makeup of the universe. I wasn't really into the spirituality. I've always had that calling deep within me, but grew up in a very organized religion environment in the Midwest. So when I was on that trip out to San Francisco, the medium shared messages from my daughter and two of my uncles who had passed. And it was so transformational, so powerful. And it was like a thump over the head of stop living small, get out of your ego. You're here with a larger purpose. You need to connect into that and take that seriously, because you're here to do a lot of healing work. So I was shaken by that experience, and I didn't, again, quite know what to do with it, but followed the breadcrumbs and was led to the Akashic Records through a daily Om email. And I sought out a practitioner, had a reading, and I was just like, oh my goodness, I just feel like I'm home. You know, for the first time, I just felt like this is my space. I love this. And so I sought out a mentor and just really jumped into that. That was 7 years ago. And I've just really committed my life to doing this work because it was so transformational for me. It changed every aspect of my life, every aspect, and really allowed me to thrive. So yeah, that was the journey.
That's amazing. Yeah, because Spirit had me write kids. So I was like, and there was a little girl here. So I was like, okay, what are the kids' stories? So I wasn't going to interrupt. I'm like, okay, Spirit. So I'm glad that she's still with you and helping you on this journey and with you constantly, transforming people's life. That's, you know, there's no words. There's no words. Okay. My phone starts going off. It's fine. Just bring it in Spirit. It's fine. My phone's going off. Sorry, I got really distracted with that. That's absolutely beautiful story. So okay. So do you talk to her often? Do you talk to past loved ones?
I do, within myself. I don't have mediumship ability, so I, don't see her or anything like that. But I do have friends who have those capabilities and do seek out readings to stay connected and to go deeper with that. She's got a lot of strong opinions and thoughts about my life and how I live my life. And I do check in to get that information because she did serve as my spiritual catalyst in waking me up. And I know that she very much is a guide for me on my journey. So when I know that I need to get back into alignment, I, pursue that that reading, and it's wonderful. And my grandmother too is right there with Aiden, and they always have a lot to say and a lot of opinions about things. And so I do check in because I think it's very important to do that, and to get that larger universal perspective of what's going on down here on the ground, because sometimes we can get lost in our journey. We can get lost in the emotionality of it, and shooting ourselves into, well, I should be doing this, or I should be following this path. And it's really helpful to get another perspective. And I do kind of utilize their guidance and wisdom as part of being my counsel, along with my own spirit guides. So absolutely.
I love that. I do the same thing. My grandma checks in. She used to check in a lot more, but she's kind of on her own journey on the other side. I talk about her on my page, but so I enjoy that. But so yeah, it definitely helps having your past loved ones, and especially spirit guides that have been human before, that can kind of help you understand a little bit like the journey that we're walking. I love that. How do you do your classes? Like, is it a one-on-one? Because you did your transformation, okay, whatever I'm trying to say, coach. You're interrupting me, and I'm trying to be respectful, but like, she keeps asking me, like, I touch her, and I'm like, okay, I know, like, we're not doing that right now, but she's just very much like, to ask her if she feels me when I touch her, and I'm like, okay.
Tell her I'll reach out to you, Tanya, and do
I'm like, I'm not doing readings. We're not doing this, but I don't know. She's just like, just let her know that I touch her. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Let's move along. Yeah. Sorry. So how do you do your
coaching? Yes. So I do offer different ways to work with individuals. I love doing one-on-one readings and really going deep and exploring in the Akashic records, all manner of spiritual information about that individual and who they are at soul level, and their purpose and past lives that have impacted them. Absolutely. I love to do that. I also do coaching programs where I can connect with a person, bring in the Akashic wisdom, and then also do the transformational coaching over a period of time. And last year I worked really hard on creating a program called the Embodied Soul. And it's about how to feel fully alive, deeply connected, to create a life that truly matters. And again, that's what we're here to do. And that's a really amazing journey that I take people on. It usually lasts about 4 to 5 months, depending on their schedule. And I actually launched that in the spring as a group program. And I had 8 people that I was working with at the same time. And I fried my circuitry a little bit because I ended up doing like 60 readings within a very short period of time. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is not sustainable for me to do this in such a large group, because my readings are really in depth. They can take 2 hours to share with a person. So I kind of burnt myself out early on in the year, and then have been trying to play catch up all year. And have had a busy schedule. So now I offer that as a one-on-one signature program. And I think it works a lot better because that person's able to get my individualized attention. And I do think that a lot of things that happen really well when we do a group program too. So in the future, I may try that, but have less participants, because, when you're doing a group, you're holding space for all of those individuals as they're moving through there, and their insights and their ahas, and that, can take a lot of energy. So
yes, I did the same thing with my deep self-love. It was a month on each group, and yeah, it was some of those classes in depth, and it's hard because you have a lot of information that comes in, and when you have a group like that, it can be challenging. So Spirit side here, what are your goals and your programs, new programs that you are launching this next year? Do you have any that you've been thinking about or that you want to talk about?
When you say goals, you mean for what's the transformation or what's the breakthrough I want to make for each of those individuals, or for myself personally?
Yourself, and what like any goals that you're coming into this next year, and new programs that you're offering for this. Are you working on something you want to maybe sprinkle in some magic?
Yeah, so I am working on something. Part of the Embodied Soul is for kind of like how you and I were talking about on the front end of this. I want some time to just kind of rest in being human, right? As I said earlier, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. A lot of those of us who are spiritual and really commit our lives to following that path don't always take the time and honor the embodiment of here being in the physical and enjoying that part of it. So I'm actually going to create a retreat and have the embodied soul experience. It's almost like a sacred soul experience where a person can just come to North Carolina. I have a lake home there. I purchased that in the fall of this year, and I'm working on doing renovations and really getting that space set up so that I can do retreats there and take people and allow them to just bask in the beauty of being on the lake, being surrounded by the mountains, and then go deeper with that transformational work. And I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm super excited about that. So
awesome. Yeah. Is somebody joining you, a movement coach or something with that? Have you thought about adding somebody? Spirit strength and a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I'm asking.
I have a lot of people in my community. They've all said, "Oh yes, amazing. I want to do that with you." Okay. But I don't have anyone locked in because I'm still in the planning phases of that and to get the home set up and all of the fun things. But I'm super excited about it because I do think that we get so focused on the busyness of our lives. We don't always have that safe space to just kind of go and unwind and just be in nature and reconnect back in with that part of ourselves. So I'm excited to start doing that.
Let me know. I will definitely come out. That sounds fantastic. Spirit's kind of showing me a little bit of that, and I'm like, that sounds amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, what was the other questions you wanted to say? Okay, what is the like a story of somebody that you've taken along as a student as being a coach that really transformed, that is like inspired, like brought all those great feelings?
Yeah, it's funny because I just received a Christmas card from her, and
thanks. I'm like, what are you talking about this? Yay! Okay.
Yeah, I love her. She's awesome. She grew up and had a very challenging childhood, and just really saw the world as kind of a dark place that takes, and didn't feel nurtured, didn't feel supported, had a lot of challenges with her parents, and never felt like she fit in high school and beyond. And when she came to me, I see people in their divine gifts, right? I see them in their light, and it's amazing. I saw her that way, and she was a part of my Embodied Soul group program in the spring, and I got to watch her flower throughout that program and really connect back into divine love and healing and divine self-expression, which are some of the energies that she works with, and really start to come alive and share in the group and thrive and shift out of some of the self-worth issues that she's built up over time, and just again shifting her perspective and seeing that there's so much possibility around us and potential, and we don't have to hold on to these old past wounds that have been a part of the journey. We can turn those wounds into wisdom and really step into our power with them. And she's an intuitive. She does animal communication, and I've seen her step up and do retreats in Costa Rica and just really start to flourish. And now I'm working with her on getting her business going and stepping into that. But it's been amazing along the way. And the card was just so kind and so sweet. And she's like, Rebecca, you give me faith in humanity and our ability to love and be supportive and to step into our human potential. So it was really touching for me to get that. And I love working with people and seeing them start to wake up to the truth of who they are, because we've been taught that we're broken. We have to atone for these sins and spend our life being obedient little humans. And the truth is, we're powerful creators of our reality. We're individuated aspects of source energy here to create our physical life circumstances. So you can imagine the difference in what we would create for ourselves if I think I'm a struggling human and oh my goodness, I can't do anything right, versus I am source and I am super powerful and I can create whatever it is that I put my mind to, those are going to be two totally different realities. So it always does come back to, how do you answer that question of who are you? Because it makes a difference. And when we can connect back into that really awesome creative power that we have inside of us that comes out with every choice that we make, that's when we can thrive. That's when we can create a life that truly matters and that's fulfilling. And that's the nature of the work. So it's plugging that person back into that vital force energy, that creative essence that, is the truth of who we are.
It's so true. And it helps us as coaches, as an intuitives to watch the transformation. Mm-hmm. Makes our job so amazing. You guys, everybody who's clicking on, thank you for being here. Rebecca, we're talking about her and how she really moves people outside of their box. And I think Spirit goes, remembers who they are. Say it again. Remembers who they are and helps listen to their soul. Okay, I didn't ask you.
I added asparagus for members too. There are remembers.
Fine, guys, we're good. Live TV right here. I don't even have her turned on. Would you call your past life? Would you call your work past life regression? Jessica's asking.
I wouldn't, because I'm not regressing the client. I'm doing the work on their behalf. I'm like a spiritual Sherpa. Okay, I go into the records and I put on my psychic detective hat and I go and look at the past lives and really pull all that information together for you. I did have an experience this past summer of someone regressing me. And, I actually found that to be not as much of a fulfilling experience. I had expected more of that experience, because when you're regressed, your conscious mind is still there, but all that intuitive information has to come through you. And the way that I do it is I'm going in as the intuitive and I'm getting that past life information on your behalf. And I just found it to be really challenging to be hypnotized and to have my brain engaged enough to be engaging with, my council of elders and my spirit guides. It was just like, whoa, I feel kind of just super heavy and I'm having to, channel this intuitive information. And that practitioner wasn't getting any of the intuitive information on my behalf. It just felt really heavy. So no, I wouldn't call it a regression, but I am going into the records and doing that for you.
So Spirit keeps showing me, you guys, and they said a good coach transforms in a ease state. And they're showing me Rebecca, and especially people who are really sensitive and, have a hard time trusting people and really need to feel, and they're pushing, not that I'm saying this isn't for guys, Drew, I know you're here, but that motherly love from like the heart space, that's kind of what Rebecca does. And they're showing me you're walking in this, it's like a beautiful rainbow with all these colors, and grabbing, and what she does is kind of grab your hand and she moves you in this transition where it's ease, and how her skills and all her toolbox, and that's fine. Those are her many tools, but she moves you into a state where she's not pulling and jerking you. It's such a beautiful transformation. At the end of it, you're like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And I had this wonderful support. So this is kind of how Spirit's showing me. So when people are asking, because a lot of people, when they go to coaches and everything else, I'm that to some degree, but I'm also a little, let's rip the Band-Aid off. But Rebecca has a soother. She's a little bit soothing more than I am. So she moves you through. I know they just keep going with an ease state. So if you guys are definitely interested in, making 2000 and I was about to say 2007. Where are you taking me, Spirit? 2019 into this transition where, I see. I'm picking me. I'm picking me first, and then it's time for me and my transition, my health and my sanity, as some people are saying. then I would highly recommend clicking on and getting some of Rebecca's services. Talk about your holiday special, because Spirit's bringing that in, and I wrote it over here.
Yeah, so my holiday special is that if you purchase a Akashic Record Soul Profile Reading and Clearing, which is my foundational reading, that's a super deep dive into your purpose, your primary life lessons, all kinds of amazing information about who you are at soul level, your specializations in between lives, as well as the past life deep dive into the restrictions and perpetuating karmic patterns that you just continue to bring with you lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. We do a super powerful clearing around that. So if you purchase that reading, I'm going to gift you with a life lesson curriculum reading, which really helps you get connected to, okay, before I came into this experience, I sat down with my guide team and my council of elders, and I looked at what are the themes that I want to really go deeper with in this life. So I will gift you with that second reading. And that comes when you purchase the Soul Profile Reading and Clearing, or a Sacred Contracts reading, which connects you into, again, what are those sacred agreements that your soul has for you to really embody and step into in this life. And I'll use myself as an example. Tanya, you were talking about the energies that you feel from me. And it's so funny because you nailed it. It's divine love and healing. So it is that maternal energy of softness, compassion, and really holding that sacred space for my clients. And so part of my sacred contracts is to be the intuitive healer, is to step into that energy for my clients, as well as to be the shaman. That's what's in my house of occupation. And a shaman is someone who clears away energies at soul level that aren't serving the person. So that's the nature of the work. And when we look at what our sacred contracts are, it's work that Carolyn Hayes did, Carl Jung. It's super powerful, because again, it anchors us in the truth of who we are, so that we can start to live in alignment with that. So
I love that. And it's so fascinating because you talked about shaman healers, and a lot of people come on here and go, well, what's the difference between all of these? And I don't get hung up on names, because that's kind of like not my thing. Everybody knows that. So they're like, what are you? And so I call myself an intuitive, because I don't like psychic medium. I don't like the language. I'm not a fan of the clairs. I'm like, I use all my senses that we were born with, just like you do. So it's fascinating I like the language that you used, especially when you're talking about, the shaman healer, because anything that transforms your soul into light and love, like, that's the best, no matter what language you want to do or use, excuse me. Wow, this has been beautiful. This has been fantastic. You guys, thank you for joining. Rebecca, you guys, she's offering a holiday special. She's got a lot. Follow her page. Talk about your Facebook page so people can like and follow you on that. Yeah,
so I have two Facebook pages, and it's Your Sacred Wisdom and Your Sacred Truth. They're both Your Sacred Truth, but when I first set up Your Sacred Truth, because Facebook is like, oh, we're going to lock this in, and I didn't do it under my personal one, so I had to go in and recreate a different one. But it's Your Sacred Truth, and then I have the Embodied Soul, which is a Facebook page that I created this spring. So if you can check both of those out, that would be awesome. And you can get to them through my website, www.yoursacredtruth.com. So that is where you can go and then connect in and see me on Twitter and see me on Facebook. So,
and you guys, all of her information is on the link that I posted yesterday. So you guys check that out. We can also post it here. Thank you guys so much. Rebecca, thank you for being my guest. You guys check out her page. We'll have to definitely talk in the future. This was fantastic and super fun.
Yeah, it seems like Aiden wants me to connect with you, so I will.
I think it's mostly just saying, because I don't usually do mediumship readings. I just do everything, and whatever pops in. But I think she just really wants you to know that if you feel her touching you, like if you feel that, she just wants you to know that she's touching you. And so I'm going to open this can of worms. And she's like, and Merry Christmas. I'm like, okay, thank you. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But you just know that she keeps touching you. She wants you to know that. So, yes. So you guys, thank you so much, Rebecca. Happy holidays to everybody, and I guess we'll talk soon. Yes.
Bye.
Happy Wednesday, you guys. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.